The man secretly added a lethal poison drink and pretended to know nothing as he handed the beverage to his wife. After declining her suggestion to share the drink with a fake smile, he hastily made up an excuse to leave the scene, but he still anxiously hid in a concealed spot to observe, witnessing his wife consume all the liquid. This poison was completely colorless and odorless, and would cause cardiac arrest 8 hours after ingestion. As expected, his wife soon died from sudden cardiac failure. For the following days, he maintained an appearance of extreme grief, until one night, after all relatives had left, he immediately drove his motorcycle excitedly to a secluded residence in secret. The woman who answered the door was the fundamental motive behind his murder of his wife. It turned out that his wife was much older than him, and even his lucrative position had been provided by her. Moreover, his wife had an extremely domineering personality minus whenever he didn't comply. She would threaten to expel him from the company. He had long felt fed up but had no choice but to endure it, until he met the gentle and caring Carla a few months ago. After some time, the two had plotted the entire conspiracy together. Next, they only needed to successfully pass the forensic examination and obtain the substantial fortune his wife had left behind. Then he could escape with Carla to start a new life. However, at this moment, he received a call from law enforcement. His wife's body had just mysteriously disappeared from the morgue. Upon hearing this news, both of them froze in place instantly. Could their conspiracy have been exposed? Carla worried that law enforcement had become suspicious and set up a trap, but he firmly believed his actions were flawless and still decided to go see what had actually happened. After arriving at the hospital, he learned that half an hour earlier, a guard had rushed from the woods toward the road in panic and been struck by a car that couldn't avoid him in time, causing him to lose consciousness. When they reviewed the surveillance footage, they discovered he had escaped from the morgue, apparently having suffered some kind of shock. But strangely, except for the camera that recorded the guard's behavior, which remained intact, all other equipment had been deliberately damaged. They had absolutely no clues to investigate. Subsequently, they discovered that one body was missing from the morgue minus it was his wife's. Upon hearing this, he finally felt relieved minus clearly his crime had not yet been exposed. Officer Jamie asked him whether his wife had any grudges against anyone while alive. He responded that they had no conflicts with anyone. At this point, Jamie was called away, and he seized this opportunity to call Carla. He indicated that he wasn't under any suspicion. He then hastily ended the call and deleted the call record. Next, the medical examiner asked whether his wife had suffered from any illnesses while alive. After denying each suggestion, he inquired whether the medical examiner had determined his wife's cause of death to be sudden cardiac arrest. The medical examiner said it was highly likely, and he immediately felt a sense of relief. After being detained for some time, he began to appear restless and insisted on returning home immediately. However, at that moment, the lighting suddenly dimmed and the entire building lost power. An officer asked him to return to the office and then went aside to check. Suddenly, sounds came from the morgue behind him, and he followed the noise inside. He discovered that somehow a metal box had appeared above his wife's body storage drawer. The metal box contained some of his wife's belongings from when she was alive, as well as an empty sealed bag. Suddenly, he caught sight of an open door nearby. Driven by curiosity, he lit his lighter to take a look, but the scene inside nearly scared him to death.